My reaction, I think, will surprise you guys. First of all, I do understand what he was saying about, and I bet you do too. If you put it to your career, looking at other receivers, it gets me upset. When you're competitive, the last thing you want to see is your opponents winning everything and, you know what I mean, shining. Not in a selfish way, but they're your opponent. It'd be different if it's a team.
That's why I have rivals.
Well, that's true, but so I get that.
That's correct.
And then now I could be wrong. I don't think it comes off like Saquon's catching a stray. All right, like I don't think he's ripping Saquon. I think he's like, well, by that logic, I mean Saquon's number, like,
and he definitely has.
Right.
I agree.
Exactly. So I don't think.
I agree with that too.
Now it doesn't come off well at all, right?
Yeah.
To answer your question, I actually don't think this will impact the game. Now, I think Dallas is going to win.
Oh.
I think Dallas is going to win this game. It's not my upset alert. I had to go big game hunting. But I think Dallas is going to win the game, but I think they're just going to win because it's a division rival. Dallas is starting to play well. They're motivated. They got a sign of hope out there. Yep. And Philly's kind of due for a loss. The question is, will this send the locker room spiraling even more than it is now? That's going to be the big question. But I don't think it's going to be because AJ didn't do anything. I actually think he may have a decent game. I just think it's going to be Dallas wins this game, not because of anything AJ said or did.
I am starting to become more and more convinced that while AJ Brown is maybe at times a clumsy messenger, that he has more support in that locker room than
That's a good take.
Than a lot of the media seems to believe.
He's not just lone wolfing it out there.
It is very difficult for me to believe. I understand A.J. Brown is an all-pro player and an alpha and, a leader in that locker room by virtue of his accolades and his experience. If it was pretty universally agreed upon in that locker room, this guy's out of line, it would be policed differently.
I would think so.
There are too many other guys that have accolades. They all have rings too. That to be like, hey, this has to stop. To where the report would be, there was a confrontation in the locker room. You know what I mean? Between somebody and that's not what's happening. And so and I want to be very clear. Not only is this not reporting, it's not even like whispered insight. Like, this is just my own personal intuition. That folks like, man, I'm glad AJ's taking the bullets for us on this one. AJ.
Okay, oh my God, where do you even begin? Where we're just getting such an avalanche of just chaos and distorted thinking. And let's just start at the beginning with AJ's comments and about, makes him angry looking at other receivers having success and how they want to distort that. Like, that's human nature. That's competitiveness. That's what it is, right? Like, that's no matter who you are. Of course, it's going to upset him. Of course, he wants to win. He wants all the stats, all the yards. He wants it all. That makes sense. You need to want it all in order to be able to win and reach the levels that AJ has. Now, same thing with Saquon, him saying, oh, did Saquon falling off? I think that actual comment is both okay and bad. I don't think it was like a direct, catch and strays type thing, but it still is like, why are you bringing up Saquon right now? Like, why are you highlighting Saquon's lack of production? Like, that's an unnecessary thing to do, because you're highlighting that and you're putting now the focus on Saquon's lack of production, and that's not fair. Saquon has done nothing to really deserve that type of question, that type of limelight. Not to mention, like, it's not hard now to imagine that, like, they now go to Saquon and say, hey, this is what A.J. Brown said. How do you feel about, like, you're creating unnecessary noise, but at the same time, what A.J. Brown is trying to say is, like, you don't think Saquon's falling off, so, like, why do you think, like, I am or not? And yet, like, you have people like Nick claiming that Squan is falling off, that he's tired and he's just not as motivated as he was when he first left New York. So, like, those conversations are around there a little bit. So, and last year when they asked A.J. Brown, what's the problem with the offense? He said passing. He didn't say running, he said passing. Okay. So this year the passing game isn't as good, and neither is the run game. It's like, so that's Jalen Hurts' fault too. Like, so, like, where does the fault lie then? So you're just now bringing up other players that end up really just being chess pieces. Like, they're just like, Saquon only has so much control of the situation. So you're bringing in Saquon now. And like, I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. I think it's you know, poorly worded and poorly spoken. And to be fair, I don't hold these athletes or even coaches and maybe even GMs to the same standard of their ability to navigate a mic, to navigate the conversation, because that's not what they do best. That's not their expertise. They are going to be more likely to put their foot in their mouth more than, say, a Nick Wright or even me, right? Like, it's not hard to imagine that, like, I'm better at navigating these types of conversations than an elite football player whose job it is to be an elite football player, you know? Like, I've had to navigate life a lot differently than them. So I've had to acquire different skill sets. And so, it's like, if you have to put me in a list of like who can handle the mic better, me, AJ Brown, Devontae, Colin Coward, Nick Ray, whoever, it's like, yeah, a lot of those players are probably not going to be at the top of the list, and you or anyone, many other people probably maybe can navigate that a little bit smoother. And so I always try to keep that in perspective, that it's just like I have an ability to navigate those conversations. Colin does, and maybe Dak does, or Mahomes or whoever, but like, I'm not going to put like Jalen Hurts. I've already showed you, like, he puts on a master class with his ability to navigate the conversation and navigate the mic, and I'm just not going to expect every single person to be able to do that. And I leave that door open for you to just kind of fumble over your words and kind of get messed up a little bit. But when you talk as much as AJ Brown, you get less the benefit of the doubt from me. You get a lot less benefit of the doubt from me. Like, that's the difference. That's the difference. If Dallas Goedert came out there and started saying something, I'd be like, yeah, Dallas, maybe don't say that. And like, I wouldn't hold his feet to the fire, because I'm just like, But like, if you keep talking and keep talking and keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, it's like, all right, well then you better know how to talk. Okay, you better know how to navigate the nuance and the complexities of these conversations. You better also understand that when you speak, your words have meaning. They have an impact. They influence the actions now of others, especially other media members who are now going to investigate and do other stuff. So, it's just if you talk, you better know how to. And, it's just now this whole thing of like, if people really didn't like what AJ Brown was doing or saying or whatever, that he's like, actually, he has more support in the locker room than, if he didn't, he would be like silenced or something. Like, when have the Eagles ever demonstrated that level of policing? This Philadelphia Eagles team has always been really collaborative. This Philadelphia Eagles team specifically went to Sirianni after the bye, or during the bye, I should say, after the Bucs game, and like the O-line included, and said, we want to run the ball more. That's what they said, we want to run the ball. And guess what? It ended up being the right decision. So like, that's why I stopped that clip right there, because like, I have no desire to just now exist in a space where we're just straight up making stuff up completely. We're just now like really just completely making stuff up, and like, I don't care for it. I really don't. And it's just speculation on top of speculation on top of speculation on top of speculation. And it's just like, it becomes tabloids at the grocery store. It's not even like People Magazine or US Weekly or whatever the heck those things are called. It's like the one that shows like, a crazy picture of like, I don't know, name, Sweeney or whatever. Like, she's been talking to aliens, and you're like, what? Like, what's what? Even is this the things that you like, don't even remotely look at like that? That's what this conversation becomes. And it's just like, and then you're trying to guess who do they blame, or who do they have issues with, or what's the story here, and then it's always like, is it Jalen? Is it the coach? Is it this? Is it that? And it's just like, it just becomes messy. And I already made that video doing a huge deep dive, and I showed you the numbers. I showed you that AJ Brown is more contested than virtually any other big-time receiver. And I showed you that in those contested targets, he actually has a lower catch percentage than the vast majority of those big-time receivers, Puka, etc. And I showed you that he is second worst in the NFL in average separation from Reese, from a defender. So he is constantly in a tight window throw. And so it's like if A.J. Brown is upset, it's like, one, you got to be better individually, or two, you got to have then talk to your coach. But the constant obsession of trying to like point this towards Jalen, like that's getting so obnoxious. That's getting so obnoxious, and make no mistake about it, that's ultimately what this conversation is trying to be led down, because we've already had that big long conversation about it a couple days ago, and it just continues to go on and on and on. And I'm gonna make a clip. I got asked by someone who was pretty much saying like, please do this clip for First Take with Cam Newton and Orlovsky. When you're watching this, maybe that clip, maybe I already posted that clip. I don't know what order I'm gonna do it. I haven't recorded it yet. I haven't watched the clip yet, but I'm gonna do that as well. That'll be another more focused on Jalen Hurts, and whatnot, and what this offense has looked like. But just make no mistake about it, the O-line has not been good. The coaching hasn't been great, and A.J. Brown hasn't been great. So we can keep trying to deflect all we want. And it's not to say that Jalen Hurts has been perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But also, Jalen Hurts' job has been made harder right now, and it's not his job to just find a way through that. We don't expect Mahomes to do that. We don't expect Lamar to do that. We don't expect Josh Allen to do that. It's really everyone else's job at this point to be like, how can we make things easier because we're making it too hard? Jalen Hurts' receivers are the least open in the NFL right now. You know, some of the lowest A.J. Brown, the wide receiver one, is like literally by definition like the most covered receiver in the NFL. And it's like, that's not on Jalen Hurts. And it's either on coaching or the roster and the individual players themselves. Fix that so you can keep talking about all the frustrations you have and the support that's in the locker room. Well, maybe some of the guys that support you might be part of that problem as well, or it's not their job to diagnose the whys, okay? So if you have some support in that locker room, they might not actually fundamentally understand the problem either. That's not what they get paid to do, okay? It's not Jalen Carter's job to understand what's not working in the run game or the pass game right now. It's not why he gets paid. It's not what he does. He's not going all over the film right now for that and trying to look and see what's going on. It's not his expertise. Okay? Bill Belichick himself, Tom Brady, talked about how they would make fun of Bill Belichick for not understanding, you know, offensive terminology and stuff. And yet, like, that's one of the greatest defensive coaches in the history of the universe. That's how specialized and specific football gets. So I don't care about support. It's like, what does that even mean? What are we even making up right now? And if they didn't have support, what do you think would be happening? There would be fights in the locker room. A.J. Brown would be, you know, getting the cold shoulder and would be eating lunch all by himself. Like what are we inventing? Why do we constantly invent stuff? It's unnecessary and does not make any sense. And it's borderline insanity right now. Whether the Eagles lose every single game from this point on, make no mistake about it, the conversations that were being had and how they were being had were fundamentally wrong and flawed, and I'm telling you that right now. If the Philadelphia Eagles lose every single game from this point on, and Jalen Hurts averages 120 yards passing and 0 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, just the absolute doomsday scenario. People will use that as, I see you were wrong. Ah, I told you so. Oh, maybe so-and-so was right. And it's like, no, you were having the wrong conversation, and you were going about it the wrong way. That's how far away you are from the conversation that needs to be had. And I've tried my best to recalibrate it again and again and again and again. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles, A.J. Brown, his frustrations, and the impact it will have against the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.